So we all know what love feels like, right? But have you ever stopped to think about why we have this, primal need to celebrate it? To take this super personal feeling and shout it from the rooftops? Well, that's exactly the story we're going to get into today. This idea that love just doesn't like to keep quiet.
Yeah, this quote right here, it just nails it. Think about it. Long before we had calendars, before we had greeting cards, there was this raw human instinct to give a shape to something you can't see but that feels all-powerful. And that urge, to make our feelings real and tangible, that's the real story we're digging into.
And that leads to a really fascinating question, doesn't it? I mean, why isn't the feeling of love just enough? Why do we need the whole ceremony, the big proposal, the party? Let's unpack this timeless need we have for witnesses and for rituals. Okay, so the core idea here is actually pretty simple. Love, as an emotion, has never been happy just staying behind the scenes. It wants a stage. It's like it's asking for an audience. It's calling out for a ceremony, and it is absolutely demanding to be remembered. I mean, just think about the last time you saw one of those public proposals. That's this exact idea in action.
So you might be wondering, how does this transformation from just a feeling into a solid bond actually work? Well, let's look at what we're calling the architecture of connection. It all starts with that initial spark, right? Love is felt. But we're human. We're hardwired to look for meaning in everything. So we try to give that feeling some kind of form. And that form, that becomes a ritual. That ritual then creates a powerful memory. And at the end of the day, it's that shared memory that strengthens the bond. It's a really beautiful and kind of powerful progression when you think about it.
So here's the absolute key takeaway. A ritual, it's like an anchor. It takes this powerful but kind of fleeting emotion, and it stops it from just fading away into the past. It literally carves that feeling into a specific moment in time, making it feel permanent. And that, right there, is the why behind every single anniversary, every proposal, every celebration of love we have.
And get this is not a new idea, not by a long shot. So how has this deep-seated need to anchor love been expressed throughout history? Let's take a look at the evolution all the way from these massive communal festivals to the quietest, most personal vows.
Okay, what's so fascinating here is you can see a clear evolution. It starts way back with these big public celebrations of fertility, like Lupercalia in Rome, where young men would literally draw women's names from a jar to get paired up for the festival. But then you see a shift. It starts getting more personal, even a little defiant with the story of St. Valentine. And then finally, you get the rise of these super individual, romantic expressions of courtly love through poems and little tokens.
These early rituals, they had this raw communal energy. And it was all about one thing, making connection visible. It was a public announcement saying, hey, these bonds are vital to our community. Love wasn't just some private thing between two people. It was seen as a pillar of society itself, and it needed to be honored out in the open. Honestly, it's kind of like the ancient version of posting your engagement on social media.
All right, so how did we make the jump from those huge public festivals to the intimate, personal celebrations we know today? Well, the shift from a community thing to a personal thing really catches fire when love finds its voice in art and poetry.
And this was a total game changer. So back in the 14th century, the famous poet Geoffrey Chaucer writes this poem about birds choosing their mates on St. Valentine's Day. It seems small, but that one single idea from a poem was the spark. It's what officially linked this specific date on the calendar with romantic love, and boy, did it set the stage for centuries of traditions.
And then you get the Victorians. Oh, they took this idea and just ran with it. They were the absolute masters of sentiment. For them, a Valentine wasn't just a quick note, it was a miniature work of art. The card itself, with all the intricate lace, the ribbons, the carefully chosen flowers, it became this tangible symbol of the emotion behind it. It literally made the feeling of love something you could hold in your hands. And this slide, it just brilliantly illustrates the next major pivot in our story. We basically move from what you could call the token era, defined by physical things like cards and chocolates, into what we're now calling the curated era. And in this new era, the ultimate expression of love, it's not something you can hold. It's a moment that you live through together.
Which brings us right up to the modern chapter of our story. And here, the focus has shifted dramatically. It's moved from possessions to presence. Today, it's all about creating a memory, not just handing over a gift.
This is what we're calling experiential love. And listen, this isn't just some passing trend. It's actually backed by science.
Psychological studies show again and again that shared experiences forge way stronger, longer-lasting emotional bonds than any material thing ever could. And why is that? Well, because while possessions are separate from us, our experiences become a part of us. They become part of our identity. In a very real way, we are the sum of our experiences.
Let's break that down a little bit more. A possession is all about what you get, but an experience? That's all about how you feel. And think about it. Objects can get lost, they can be forgotten, but the memory of a shared experience, that often becomes even more valuable as time goes on. So, in essence, what we're doing is choosing to invest in our shared emotional history.
So what does this actually look like in practice? Well, a rooftop proposal isn't really just about the ring, is it? It's about that incredible feeling of intimacy set against a huge, grand city skyline. Or an engagement ceremony. It's using all those personalized details to create a genuine sense of shared community and joy. Every single element is curated to maximize that emotional punch and create a memory that's going to last forever.
So, as we start to bring this all together, it becomes pretty clear that what we're doing today with all these carefully crafted experiences, it isn't really new at all. It's just the latest chapter in a story that's as old as time itself.
You know, whether you're looking at a Roman festival from thousands of years ago, or a quiet, intimate dinner happening tonight, the fundamental human impulse is exactly the same. It's this deep desire to take a private, internal feeling and make it real, make it tangible, make it shared. Sure, the tools and the traditions have changed a lot, but the goal is absolutely eternal.
At the end of the day, a ritual is really just a story that you get to stand inside of for a little while. It's how you turn a simple feeling into a whole chapter of your life story. So I guess the only question left to ask is, what story will you create?